Hi, my name is Taylor Leonard. I am majoring in occupational therapy here at the University of Findlay with a minor in gerontology. I am currently in Gerontology 200, the aging process, which is my first gerontology class. My class and I recently took part in a survey that had to do with ageism. Ageism is discrimination among the elderly. We did the surveys to kind of see how big of a problem ageism is in our communities, if it was even a problem at all. The survey consisted of 4 people, not including myself, 2 older adults and 2 younger adults. The older adults were in the category 65 and over, and the younger adults were under the age of 65. I also participated in my own survey as a pre and a post test. The pre-test was taken at the beginning of the course, and the post-test was taken at the last few weeks of the course. At the end of the surveys, we graded the participants on a scale to see how much ageism they personally partake in. We then followed up with those same individuals to explain their results and to see if they had any questions at all regarding the grading system. The grading system was on a point-based system, with the minimum of 27 being that you personally don't have an attitude against ageism, and the maximum of 135 being that you are basically a walking poster of ageism. The mid-range was 50 to 60, which is the typical attitude. You kind of fall in between a little bit of both. For my first interview, I interviewed my mom and my stepdad for the younger adult survey, and my boyfriend's grandparents for the older adult survey. My mom, Angie, scored a 45 on the survey, which is almost in the mid-range, but leans a little more towards not having an issue with ageism. My stepdad, Mike, on the other hand, scored a 66, which puts him above the mid-range, leaning more towards having an issue with ageism. Bob, my boyfriend's grandpa, scored a 39, which means he is within the range of not being as involved with ageism. Nellie, my boyfriend's grandma, on the other hand, scored an 81, which sets her score at the highest record during my surveys. This means that she is almost the walking poster of ageism. Nellie was also diagnosed with dementia, so I'm not positive if that would have an effect on her score, but she seemed very involved with the survey and even left a couple ungraded with a little note consisting of her feelings besides the question. My results for the survey were pretty normal. On my pretest, I scored a 54, which put me in that mid-range for having an in-between attitude. Once I took the test for the second time, my score actually decreased by 14, which put me at a solid 40. This means that I now lean more towards the range of not having an issue or discrimination among older people. I believe my scores changed because of the knowledge I gained while being in the class. I learned that older individuals are really similar to us younger individuals, with maybe a few things that are drastically different. But I personally believe that they should have the same rights as the younger adults. When following up on the results of the survey, all of my participants showed curiosity of how the results were graded. I then explained the grading system of how some of the numbers were flipped due to it being a negative thing against ageism, so it was graded differently. They did understand and seemed to agree with their results. After we explained their results, we were asked to then follow up with 2 individuals, one from each category, and ask them some questions. The first question was, were they surprised with their results? The second question was, do they think the questions were fair? If yes, how? If no, why not? The third was, why do they think that ageism is an issue in the community? And the community can be within the circle of friends, neighborhood, profession, and community as a whole. And they were asked to qualify their responses. And then the last question was asking their opinion on how they feel the United States treats older adults. Do they think ageism is an issue in our nation? And what do they think should be done to address this issue? I first asked my mom, Angie, the questions from the younger adult category. The first question was, were you surprised with the results of the survey? My mom answered that she was not surprised. Because she scored such a low score, she knew she didn't have as many problems with ageism. She believed that older individuals should be categorized the same as the younger without any different rules. I then asked her the second question if she thought the questions were fair. She answered yes, because they addressed all of the issues within ageism and they all made sense to her. So the third question I asked, do you think that ageism is an issue within our community? And she answered, yes. She sees how older adults are discriminated against and how you don't see as many older people doing things that younger people would do, like going to the gym, socializing at the same spots, and etc. And then I asked her, do you think that the United States treats older people good? And then, do you think ageism is an issue within our nation, and what do you think should be done to address this issue? She said she feels that the United States treats older adults pretty good actually when it comes to the government. Older adults get benefits and they also get opportunities still handed to them. But I do believe ageism is an issue, especially with the baby boomers entering the older adult category. There will be people living longer, so more things should be done for them instead of everyone discriminating. They should treat others how they want to be treated as an older adult. Okay, and I then asked Bob the follow-up questions for the older adult category. I asked him the first question, were you surprised with your results? And he was not shocked at all with his results from the survey, because since him being an older adult himself, he knew that he wouldn't discriminate against his own. And then asked him the second question, do you think the questions were fair? If yes, how? If no, why not? He believed the questions were reasonably fair. He had trouble understanding a few of the questions at first, but after I explained it to him, he understood them better. And then the third question, I asked him, do you think that ageism is an issue in our community? And he agreed ageism was a problem in the community. He sees people discriminating all the time by asking elders if they want to join certain classes at the YMCA that involve other people in their age group, or seeing how people talk or treat the older adults. I then asked him the last question. What is your opinion on how the United States treats older adults? Do you think ageism is an issue in the nation? What do you think should be done to address this issue? He said that U.S. treats older adults as a category instead of people. They get benefits, but they had to work for them first. Times are harder than they were before, so many things are out of reach when it comes to income. Ageism is an issue. In order to fix this, people need to understand that we are people too. We are just towards the ends of our lives, but that doesn't mean that we still don't feel like we are young. When doing the survey, nothing really surprised me. I was kind of expecting there to be a difference in scores among the interviewees. I was very surprised with how fluent Nellie was able to express her feelings on the survey, since she did have dementia. She agreed that teenage suicide was more tragic than that of elders, which showed why she valued the younger life more, when it should have been a disagreement because of how tragic they both are. I feel my community could push more for education classes to be taken that involve ageism, just so people who are unfamiliar with the topic could educate themselves and find a happy medium of not discriminating against the elderly, because they too will be old one day. I also think that the community could do a class with both elders and young people and have them express their concerns and needs to each other to understand why things happen the way they do. When doing the survey, there was not a huge difference in the age groups. Everyone fell pretty much around the same numbers on the scale. If there was any difference, I believe it would be because of how ageism deals with older individuals, and 2 of my participants were in that older range. They might have felt more offended with the questions, such as older people have poor hygiene. I know for a fact that Nellie was very offended with that one because she didn't answer it and wrote a little comment beside it. The main lessons while doing the survey that I'll take away from this was that people ultimately want to be treated as equal. They don't want their age to define them, because they too were once young and they too were once naive that older adults are horrible people. But in reality, we are all the same, just in different stages of our lives.